How is it freaking going, everybody? We are going to predict every single week 8 NFL game, and we're doing it live today. We're doing it all completely live. I'm very excited to break this down. We're going to do these storylines, score predictions, and I'm also going to do a player pick for one player for each team that I think will be a good pick on Underdog Fantasy. We'll talk about that in a second. We're going to start off with Vikings versus Rams, then get into every single Sunday game. I actually have a pretty good record. Last week was pretty good for me. Definitely hit on the Thursday night football game. But before we get into all of this, let's talk about the sponsor of this live stream, Underdog. Underdog is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's the fastest growing app in the industry. And I, in particular, like their pick'em game. That is why today I am dropping $100 freaking on a 5-player pick. I do this during these types of videos for a chance to win $2,000. So $100, I got this. And I'm also going to be doing more of these player picks, like I mentioned, for every single game. Other picks and other players that I think would be a good pick in addition to these guys. I got Jonnu Smith at the bottom, the tight end of the Miami Dolphins. Tua is back, by the way, going higher than 22 yards. Then Patrick Mahomes going higher for those passing touchdowns. Amari Cooper with the Bills. Aaron Rodgers, I think he'll get back, and also Kirk Cousins going up against those Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we'll see by next week if I win this $2,000. But this pick'em game is really fun. You could pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total for a chance to win up to 1,000 times your money in one night. And you can mix them up with all of your favorite teams and favorite players. I personally like doing this for particular games that I'm not super into. If it's a team that's not my favorite team, I could add some spice in my life by doing an Underdog player pick. So sign up with promo code WiFi and you can get So sign up with promo code Wi-Fi. New customers get up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you use promo code Wi-Fi. The link is in the description and the pinned comment and the live chat below. Use promo code Wi-Fi to get your free pick plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash for first-time players. So visit UnderdogFantasy.com. You can find them in the Apple Store, Google Store. Download the app, use promo code Wi-Fi, and check out if it's available in your area. Shout out to my Californians and fellow Oregon citizens. It is available in California and Oregon. That is very unusual. So really cool thing, man. Check out them. They're the sponsor of this stream today, and we're going to be doing a lot of picks today. So starting off with the Vikings versus the Rams. That is happening tonight, Thursday night football. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because most of you who are watching this are going to watch this after the game has already happened. So the Vikings are the favorite by 2.5 points. They almost beat the Detroit Lions. Looked like they were going to win the game for the majority of the time last Sunday, but then narrowly lost. And honestly, if you're going toe-to-toe with the Detroit Lions like that, you're a pretty good team. You're a pretty good team, and I would say the Minnesota Vikings have been one of the more impressive teams in the NFL. The LA Rams beat the Raiders, but it's the Raiders, you know what I mean? And they barely beat the Raiders. That is because the Rams have had their fair share of problems, in terms of injuries. The offensive line has been decimated, a cornerback has been decimated, and obviously wide receiver with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. But in this upcoming game, looks like we're going to have Cooper Kupp for the LA Rams. I don't think Puka Nacua is going to play, but that's definitely going to be a boost for Matthew Stafford. So I think this game tonight is going to be a lot more competitive. Cooper Kupp is also on the trade block. We're going to see if this guy even joins the Vikings after the game. You even have the more bizarre trade rumors about Matthew Stafford potentially joining the Vikings. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's just some stupid clickbait rumor there. But the over and under is 48 points. I mean, I actually have a soft spot for the Rams. I like Sean McVay. I like the fact that he comes from that John mother effing Gruden tree, right? But I just have to keep it real, and I have to say that I believe the Minnesota Vikings are going to win this game, and I think they're going to win it, pretty decisively, at least by 7 points. So I got the Rams here, 20 points, the Vikings 27, technically under that over and under at 48. Vikings are going to get the dub here tonight, man. And maybe that encourages the stupid Matthew Stafford trade that a lot of people are saying happening. But hey, would I be surprised if the Rams pull this out? Maybe, but they're 2-4. Do they really want to win at this point? I think they're going to try to build towards the future, and that's why they're maybe getting rid of Cooper Kupp there. So next game, we got to talk about it and let me know if you're feeling this, guys. If you're feeling this, we got the Eagles versus the Bengals. I think this is low-key probably one of the more electrifying matchups this Sunday. I mean, really, 10 a.m. for us West Coasters, that's pretty intense there. But Eagles versus Bengals, Eagles dominated the Giants last week. Daniel Jones, and I actually thought the Daniel Jones with Malik Neighbors was going to do a little bit better, but the Eagles dominated there. I was very surprised. However, I feel like Philly's been a little up and down. One week they're dominating, the next week, they're barely clawing by. This is a really hit or miss team for me. Same thing with the Cincinnati Bengals. Electrifying offense with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. You saw him get the football to him in that dominating win, slightly dominating, only by 7 points against the Cleveland Browns. And who knows, if Deshaun Watson stays in the game, do the Browns beat the Bengals? No, of course not. But anyways, still an electrifying offense. I don't have faith in the Bengals running game or their defense. Eagles defense was struggling against the run early on in the year, but they've seemed to clean that up. And overall, I guess it's fair to say that the Eagles are the better team. Now, at the same time, I feel like the Bengals have faced tougher opponents than the Eagles. So I got a little bit of faith in them there. Still got Jalen Carter, dominating defensive tackle. Cooper DeJean, one of the great white guy cornerbacks in the NFL right now, Cooper DeJean. And A.J. Brown's back and healthy for these past few weeks. He was out for a little bit. I do think this is going to be a close game. I do think this is going to be close. You have the Bengals favored by 2.5 points. The over and under is 48. A lot of 48 today, man. I do think it's going to be close. It's at home for Cincinnati. They're 3-4 right now. I think the Bengals are going to be one of those teams that claws back and becomes a wild card contender. I know a lot of people wrote them off just because they lost week 1 against the Patriots and whatnot, but I have a good feeling. I have a good feeling about these guys. So Jalen Hurts also has been very turnover prone. So you know what? This is going to be my one non-favorite to start here. I'm going to go with the Bengals 24, Eagles 20 at home. I like that. I think Joe Burrow is playing better football than Jalen Hurts. I think the Eagles had a good week last week, but I think they're one of the more overrated, tough teams in the NFC, in my opinion. Sorry, haters. And I have been forgetting to do, and this usually happens. I have been forgetting to do the glorious player pick that I like for each of these teams in these prospective games. So when it comes to Rams and Vikings, this one's a little tough. I would stay safe. Go with the higher on the Justin Jefferson for the Vikings, and then stay safe in terms of the Rams. Go with the higher on the rushing yards of Kyren Williams. Those guys have been getting the football for each of those respective teams over the past few weeks. So that's what I'd do for that. When it comes to Eagles versus Bengals, for some reason, A.J. Brown, all of the receivers here are grayed out for the Eagles. I would definitely be picking some A.J. Brown if that was the case, but for some reason they're grayed out. And I think it's safe to take the Jamar Chase higher with 75 yards. And if not him, go with the T. Higgins potentially getting a touchdown. I think that'd be the safest play there. Now, going to the next game that we have here. And I feel like this game is only interesting because of the Deshaun Watson injury. And some of you may think that's going to change something. Do I think that's going to change something? I don't know. But Deshaun Watson is injured for the Cleveland Browns against the Baltimore Ravens. You now have Jameis Winston as the starter. And look, Jameis Winston was pretty much rocking with third team, really. If it wasn't for the injury to Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the former UCLA Bruin, to his finger, he would potentially be starting in this game against the Ravens. So I feel like Jameis Winston has gone completely downhill. I don't believe the lie that the Browns, I mean, I think it's a lie, where the Browns said, well, the reason why DTR was second string against the Bengals when Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson was injured is because he fit the scheme for that game plan for that day better. But now we're going with Jameis Winston this week. It's like, no, the dude hurt his finger, DTR. That's why they're settling with Jameis Winston. So some people are going to spin this as to, hey, with the 1-6 Browns are going to do better with Winston at quarterback than Deshaun Watson. No, the Browns have been trash, and regardless of who's at quarterback, I mean, they're doing great on the defensive side of the football. You see their power rank there, 6th, and most notably against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think they had a great defensive game this year. But really, man, Deshaun Watson, when you watch these games, I know he's not playing well, but what do you expect this guy to do? He has no time to throw the football. He's getting cracked and creamed left and right. And I think it's going to be worse for Jameis Winston. I mean, at least Deshaun Watson could scramble a little bit. Jameis Winston, I think they're going to get absolutely smoked in this game. They are going to get smoked like a pack of pre-rolled joints. The Browns fans are going to need to bring those paper bags back out. And by the way, man, don't feel bad for Browns fans because they were celebrating the Deshaun Watson and defending this guy, defending him like Jameis Winston was defending him after the game and saying, oh, he's a good person. He's got a good heart. And look, I don't think the fans should have celebrated Deshaun Watson's injuries, but they were praising the guy even after the massage allegations just because he's their QB. He's their QB. But as soon as somebody doesn't perform on the field, they all turn against him, and that's exactly what happened. I think this is going to be a smoke show. You got the over and under at 44. I think the Ravens are going to run it up, man. I think it's going to be an ugly, ugly day in Cleveland. So Browns fans are going to be leaving early. Don't worry about parking. If you're going to the game, you're going to be able to get out quick and smooth. It's going to be a fun day. I think they're going to get absolutely roasted. Ravens 31 versus Browns 13. So, hey, it looks like you're taking the over on that one if you're going with the Wi-Fi Willie here. It's going to be a smoke show, dude. But I only think it's going to be that way because the Browns are going to continue to give the football back to the Ravens. I think this Browns defense does deserve some credit here. So looking at this game, let's try to find this freaking game. Some good plays here. A Derrick Henry touchdown. I think that's more feasible than taking the higher on that than yards, because you never know if they start getting in the backups or whatnot, especially if they get a considerable lead. When it comes to the offensive side of the football, taking a look at David Njoku, the tight end here, this guy got a crap load of targets last week against the Cleveland Browns, so I would take the higher on Njoku with receptions. Do I think this guy's going to get yards? I don't think so, but I would take the higher when it comes to receptions for Njoku, who, it's election time. He loves Donald J. Trump. So take that information any way you would like, whether positive or negative. The Wi-Fi Willie's here for everybody. So let's take a look at this next game. We are talking right here, right now, probably the game that I think a lot of you give the least shit about. See, we're getting uncut tonight. We're saying the S word. Maybe we give the least shit about this game because it's Lions versus Titans. Will Levis not available. Mason Rudolph. It's the Mason Rudolph show. The Titans just traded DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs for a 5th round pick. So to me, that just says you don't give a shit about this season. I mean, you really just want to get your cheeks clapped, really, in these upcoming games. So I believe it's tank season for the Tennessee Titans, unfortunately. I got some friends who are Titans fans, and they're probably disappointed in that. But hey, what can we really tell these guys? What can we really tell these guys? Will it be a low-scoring game? Will it be a high-scoring game? Lions offense is obviously clicking at an unbelievable level, but actually this power ranking is very misleading because I believe the Titans defense is very underrated, and they didn't get rid of any players on the defense. I believe they may have gotten rid of Ernest Jones actually on the defensive side of the football to the Seattle Seahawks for Jerome Baker and a pick. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough day. I think the Titans can get on the board 17 points. I think the Lions will take their foot off the gas. They don't want to deal with injuries. I'm going to say they get 27 points. Steal what, my math is bad. Still under that 45, 11.5 point spread. They don't cover there. They don't cover there. But who is going to ball out? Who is going to ball out? If we're taking a look at these lineups, man, when it comes to the defense of the Tennessee Titans, secondary is going to be tough to match up against all these weapons that Jared Goff has at his disposal. I know Montgomery was able to finish the game for the Lions last week, but he got a little banged up during that game. So you have to wonder, how available is this guy going to be? Yeah, that's so funny. Losing a fumble. Will that happen? Will he lose a fumble? That's an interesting pick there. Now, the Titans don't really have much to choose from besides Mason Rudolph, so I wouldn't even touch that. I would just take the higher on Jared Goff with passing TDs. I mean, I think that's pretty safe. The only thing is if they get way too big of a lead and then they lay off, but I would feel comfortable saying Jared Goff gets 2 passing touchdowns there in that game, and I wouldn't touch anything for the Titans. Now we got to take a look at this one. This is one where I feel like if the game hadn't gone the way it had gone week 1, you saw this matchup where it was the Colts versus the Texans. Week 1 of the season, 29-27. The Texans barely won that game. So that has a lot of people thinking, well, maybe the Colts have a shot. They've won 2 in a row, albeit against weak teams, narrowly lost to the Jags, could have beaten them. You had that moment when Anthony Richardson, the quarterback of the Colts, was in and out dealing with injuries. Joe Flacco came in, but now Anthony Richardson looks available, healthy, ready to go. They lost to Forrest Buckner early on in the season, but their defense has still been decent besides against the Jacksonville Jaguars and against the Tennessee Titans. You gotta take a little sip of coffee. And the Houston Texans obviously are one of the better teams in the NFL. But one thing about the Texans is, aside from this Buffalo Bills victory that they barely got, and that was when Josh Allen did not have Amari Cooper, and we know they are lacking at wide receiver there, they really haven't beaten great teams. They lost to the Green Bay Packers, lost to the Minnesota Vikings, and these are NFC teams, which in my opinion, and I know people are going to be offended by this, are easier than AFC teams. I think AFC just has tougher teams in the NFL over these past 2 to 3 years. That's just a fact that I think. So this is going to be interesting. I mean, the Texans are favored by 5 points. I mean, it's going to be in Houston. I want to just go out there and say, you know what? I think the Colts are going to win this game. 6-1 against the spread. That's pretty interesting. But that's really tough to do, especially because Anthony Richardson, I feel like, has just been very, very inconsistent. And he's also dealing with injuries. You see that PFF grade, 37, literally one of the worst in the NFL right now. Anthony Richardson just has not been as productive as we thought he was going to be this year. This is really like his rookie season, because he pretty much missed the entire season in week 1. So I think you got to take the Houston Texans here. The type of victory, I don't think it's going to be insanely dominant. I do think they cover here. I got the Texans going 23, Colts 17, still cover. Not completely dominant on the offense side of the football. And then you kind of notice that with the Texans' recent dubs. It's not like they're blowing people out of the water, besides against the New England Patriots. But that's the New England Patriots. I mean, come on, you know what I mean? Let's get real here. Let's get real here. Now, when it comes to this one, Anthony Richardson randomly will get a huge gain to Alec Pierce. Haven't seen that in a little bit, but still it has happened. They're really not giving you much available here when it comes to Anthony Richardson. I would take the higher on the rushing attempts, though. I think they're going to get desperate at some point. He's going to have to use his legs. I could see Anthony Richardson going higher than 8 rushing attempts. Usually desperation games, that's when you see mobile quarterbacks use their legs more. You check out Josh Allen's games. Every time it's a close game against a tough opponent, he starts to use his legs a little bit more. CJ Stroud, that's a little tough for me to touch. So is Stephon Diggs, going higher than 5 receptions. Tank Dell, though, with the injury to Nico Collins, I could see Tank Dell getting into the mix a little bit more. We saw Joe Mixon over these past few weeks have a little bit more production, over 100 yards in these past 2 weeks. So you know what? Go with the hot hand and go higher on Joe Mixon, going higher than 76.5 rushing yards there. Why not? Why not? And by the way, these are different than my picks that I made earlier. I'm just making particular picks for every single game based off reaction to seeing how we think this game is going to go. So we are 5 games down, baby. I'm trying to roll through these and try to make not too crazy for a lot of you watching later on. Shout out to all the people watching later on, and shout out to all the people in the live chat, man. I see you. I see you. I see you. A lot of Joe Flacco fans. I don't believe Puka Nacua will play, by the way. So we have the Packers versus the Jaguars, or Jaguars. Sometimes I call them Jaguars, and that pisses people off. Jags are underdogs by 4 points. And Trevor Lawrence, though, I mean, he's taken a lot of heat. Do I think it's all on him? I think he's got some unfinished products at wide receiver. I do. Brian Thomas has been doing a lot better. They got a win against the New England Patriots, a big win after getting dominated against the Cleveland Browns, and had that win against the Indianapolis Colts. So they only have 2 wins, but they're, one of them is against a solid team, and they're very competitive against the Houston Texans. So you got to give them some credit. Ever since Jordan Love has come back, and even without Jordan Love, I feel like the Packers did a great job with Malik Willis. They have been rocking and rolling. They have been going. They got a big victory against the Houston Texans, 3-game win streak. You beat the Rams and Cardinals, some easier teams, although the Cardinals I think are pretty competitive. But Jordan Love still making mistakes, though. I mean, this guy still throws interceptions. That's why he doesn't have as good of a PFF grade as Trevor Lawrence. And who knows? I mean, maybe if he plays more games, he'll get worse. I don't know. But I feel like the Packers offense can be explosive at times, but you can also see some turnovers there. I think Josh Jacobs is having a productive year so far. The Jags really have a tough road here, but they are at home. And I do think this game is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people expect. I think the Jags defense is a lot better than a lot of people realize. Obviously, the Packers have a really, really great secondary, obviously. But when it comes to the Jags, man, I think they got some low-key playmakers that don't get enough credit, including their own Josh Allen, who's now Josh Hines Allen because he's so tired of being associated with the quarterback of the Bills, Josh Allen. Reed has been banged up. There's been some little banged-up injuries at the wide receiver position for the Green Bay Packers, but I still believe the Packers are going to win this game. I mean, I do. I have to be fair there. Hard to figure out how much. The over and under is 49 points. You know what? I think the Jags are going to be a lot more competitive than a lot of people realize in this game. I think if the Packers think they're going to walk in here and just completely whip their ass, they're fools. So I got 27-24. Packers win the game. That's what I see happening up in here. When it comes to picks, though, for this one, now what's actually crazy about the Jags is we've kind of seen their receivers go up and down, like who's getting the football. It's kind of changed rapidly throughout the year. I was not optimistic about Brian Thomas early on in the year, but now if Brian Thomas is available, I think you have to take. I mean, check him out. 89 yards last week against Indianapolis in their big win, 122 yards, averaging over 3 catches a game. I could see this guy getting 5 catches in this game. I would take the higher on the Brian Thomas for sure. I think the Packers will get a lead, and I could see them handing the rock off to Mr. Josh Jacobs here. I could see him getting higher than 15.5 rushing attempts. So I would take those when it comes to Packers versus Jags. Josh Jacobs, Brian Thomas. Now, taking a look at this next one, this game became interesting. This game did not matter. I would say 6 days ago, this game did not matter. But now it matters because Tua Tagovailoa is back, everybody. Shout out to Tua Tagovailoa. He's back. Tyreek Hill said that they're going to ball out. The band's back together. Arizona Cardinals just got a close victory on Monday Night Football, a little less rest than the Dolphins against the Chargers. A lot of people think that they got lucky with a flag, but there was a helmet-to-helmet hit that helped them, get a big conversion. So, yeah, Chargers fans salty about that. They got their ass whooped by the Packers, but they beat the 49ers, and they got their ass whooped by the Commanders. That's been the Cardinals over the past 4 weeks. Snoop Huntley was only able to get one win for the Dolphins. The Dolphins could be going downhill. They're going to try to battle it out and get second place in the AFC East, competing with the Jets here. Will Tua Tagovailoa be able to hit the ground running? He claims that he's been healthy and, basically he's going to be at 100%. The Dolphins are actually favored by 3.5 points. I mean, maybe Tua just comes back and hits the ground running. Maybe. Will the Cardinals go easy on him because of his injury history? I look, no. I just say no. And honestly, the Cardinals are a very underrated team. The Dolphins, in my opinion, have been a overrated team even with Tua. I mean, they got their ass whooped by the Bills in week 1. They barely beat the Jags, and they had a miraculous comeback to beat the Jags in week 1, lost to the Bills in week 2. My bad. So I think the Dolphins are completely overrated. They're favored by 3.5 points, over and under 46 points. But I just cannot see the Dolphins coming back and winning right away. They're at home. I don't believe in the Tua thing. I can't see him just being super healthy and ready to go right away. I think the Arizona Cardinals could score a lot of touchdowns with Kyler Murray. I got the Cardinals winning this game 28-23 versus the Dolphins. I hope Tua is going to be fine, dude. We'll see if he finishes the game. I mean, let's just be real. Let's see if he finishes the game. It sounds cold-blooded and it sounds messed up, but man, I mean, I hope he's safe, and I find it hard to believe that he's just locked and loaded, ready to go, is not going to miss a beat. Do I think Tyreek Hill will get the football in this game? Yes. I still think he'll get his yards higher than 48 here. When it comes to the Cardinals, I mean, it's been very up and down when it comes to the Cardinals. Marvin Lewis, 1 week he's balling out, the next week it's nada, right? So for the Cardinals, it's kind of hard to choose somebody. I do like Trey McBride, though. I feel like he's been getting some decent yardage, over 50 yards over the last 3 games. I would take the higher on the Trey McBride, the tight end for the Arizona Cardinals there. But the Dolphins, man, that's tough. Well, hey, man, we're so good at this. We're doing so well. We got 9 more games to go, technically 8, because we're already on this next one, which is going to be a big game. Look, I'm a Raiders fan, but I still root for Devontae Adams. I've always liked Aaron Rodgers. I do think that Devontae Adams is not getting proven right now with how the Jets are struggling, but I do think the Jets are going to turn it around. The power rank on their defense is still number 1. Man, Robert Saleh must have built a pretty great Jets defense, huh? And the Patriots are a dumpster fire. You actually have rumblings that maybe Gerard Mayo will be fired. There's some rumblings there. Jets just need to continue to build that chemistry with Devontae Adams. They've been talking about how there's a lack of energy on the sideline. Hopefully Devontae Adams' speech has helped the New York Jets. They're 2-5. If the Jets don't win this is actually, you can tell that I'm assuming the Patriots are going to win this game. Or I mean, you can Freudian slip. You can tell that I'm assuming that the Jets are going to win this game. But if the Patriots win this game against the New York Jets, then the Jets are fucking done. They are done if they lose this game against the New England Patriots. Now, I totally believe the Jets are going to win this game. I totally believe. But if somehow it happens, it is done. So they're going to win this game. The Jets are going to win this game, but they are in desperation mode. I mean, they really can't afford to lose any games. And after the Patriots, it's going to be the Texans. I mean, we talk about the Jets a lot on this channel. especially after the Devontae Adams trade. So we'll see what happens. I think Aaron Rodgers, Devontae, that's going to continue to click. I think they actually look good in the limited amount that he was able to play, and they're only going to get better. So I got the Jets winning this game, obviously, against the Patriots. Patriots defense was pretty good early in the season. They now got Drake May at QB. He's been rolling over the past few weeks. And their defense was actually able to hold people to low points, holding the Seahawks to low points early on in the season, beating the Bengals early on. But Jets definitely going to win. And I think the Jets are in a position where they actually need to decisively beat this team. Like, they need to really, really get a big victory just to block out all the noise. So I got the Jets really winning this game, 27-10. I think they need that, and I don't think they'll take their foot off the gas. I think they really, really, really want to win here. I want to put an 8-leg parlay. What do you recommend? Also, what do you think about a record? Would have been right now if we still had a car. Blah blah blah. We're gonna get into the Raiders. I mean, obviously the Raiders would be better with Derek Carr. I can't just like be like, whoa, we would magically have this record. I don't know. But I think the biggest problem with the Raiders right now is head coach. I mean, I really do think, when you have an unprepared amateur head coach, how is he supposed to compete this week against Andy Reid? And because the Raiders are brought up, we're going to go ahead and jump the gun, and we'll get back to some of these other ones. We're going to go ahead and jump the gun and go ahead and talk about Chiefs Raiders. Now, by the way, this is sponsored by Underdog here, and we do have promo code WiFi to claim your free pick and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And I also dropped $100 on this 5-player pick'em. So use promo code Wi-Fi, claim your free pick, get up to $1,000 in bonus cash, and check out those picks, man. That's what I'm rolling with this week. That's what I'm rolling with. Now, appreciate you, Hector, in the chat. Let's go ahead and talk about Chiefs versus Raiders. And look, the Raiders season is over. I mean, I don't. They do have the same record as the Jets, shockingly, but they're in the AFC West, tough division, and they just don't have many great players, and they especially don't have great players at the most important positions in the NFL, which is quarterback, which is wide receiver, right? And I think they're lacking on offensive line, and they really don't have any playmakers on the defensive side of the football besides Max Crosby, Nate Hobbs, and then Robert Spillane. I think you can put Robert Spillane up there now. I think he's proven himself to be one of the top linebackers in the NFL. Just those three guys, and then it's a really big drop-off. Really unfortunate that Christian Wilkins has gotten injured. The Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. I mean, even though Mahomes is not playing at the highest level, he's throwing a lot of interceptions. He lost Hollywood Brown. He lost Rashee Rice early on in the season, Mr. Hit and Run. He lost. And by the way, have you guys seen that video where Rashee Rice's mom is like what is it called? A doorstep thief. She stole somebody's package at their doorstep. Like, really some ghetto bullshit. I'm sorry. And especially when your son has money and you're stealing packages from people's doorstep. I mean, that is some ghetto ratchet bullshit, but that's the Kansas City Chiefs for you, man. They got a lot of ratchet stuff happening over there. They're going to be in Vegas, but we know Vegas this year, I mean, against the Steelers, it was home field advantage for the Steelers. I mean, Browns even had a lot of fans when they played the Raiders in Vegas. Porch Pirate, that's it. So really, the Raiders don't have a home field advantage either. I mean, so that's why it's just so tough. It's going to be all red in the stadium. I love my Raiders, but we're going to get our cheeks absolutely clapped. And look, Antonio Pierce, the head coach, talked mad trash on the Kansas City Chiefs going into the season, said they had the recipe to beat the Chiefs, talked about the Mahomes rules, are going to be rough on him. Had his statement, don't worry about our QB, worry about yours, and all of this stuff, man, has just really looked cringe now that the Raiders have gone completely downhill this season. I mean, even with Aiden O'Connell over the past few weeks, it's been an absolute disaster. So I don't have any hope. I think the Raiders will have a new quarterback next year, new coach, and because a lot of contracts are expiring, I think they're going to have a lot of new players. And look, this is what the fans... I kind of blame the fans. I blame the fans because Max Crosby did his thing about how we need Antonio Pierce, but that was sort of after the fans demanded Antonio Pierce. And why would you do that? Why would you demand to have a coach who's got no experience in a division with Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and Jim Harbaugh? I mean, to me, it's dumb. So Raiders fans deserve what they signed up for, and now they got to press the reset button. And maybe we weren't going to compete no matter what coach we grabbed this year, and so the Raiders decided to have a bridge regime until they find the next regime, right? That could be a possibility. So we'll see what happens. But the Chiefs are going to dominate the Raiders, unfortunately. I think, and look, we keep talking about how Mahomes, he hasn't had his stats are bad. I think this is the game where Mahomes gets his stats back, right? So I'm predicting a 33-17 L for the Raiders, and Mahomes, because right now he has a bad touchdown interception ratio. If I'm not mistaken, he has 6 touchdowns, 8 picks. I think he's going to get like over 3 touchdowns passing to kind of even out his touchdown interception ratio. So when it comes to my player picks for this game, I would go higher on Mahomes passing touchdowns. I think this is a get right game for Patrick Mahomes. And really, there's not even anything you could pick for the Raiders. Brock Bowers has been getting yards, but he has not been getting touchdowns. I would pick Brock Bowers yards if that was available, but it's not. So it's tough. So maybe he gets a touchdown. I don't think he got 1 touchdown so far. He's been getting mad yards, and he's pretty much been the only productive person on the Raiders offense. So Mahomes and Brock Bowers for that day. Raiders versus Chiefs. Minshew, it's maybe Minshew gets a passing touchdown. Minshew might get benched for Desmond Ridder, even though Desmond Ridder has only been here 5 days. Minshew is not playing well, and I think his confidence is shot. I mean, I think the Raiders, I think putting Minshew in a QB competition just totally destroyed his confidence, and that was not a good move. You got to make your QB feel like he is just freaking badass. If you don't do that, it ain't worth it. It's in my opinion, it's never going to work. So Falcons versus Buccaneers. Falcons versus Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, man, I felt bad for that guy. Against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football, losing Mike Evans, losing Chris Godwin. Mike Evans out for this game. Chris Godwin out for the year. Ankle injury, dislocated ankle. Ouch. And the Buccaneers were hot, man. They were doing well. Now they're 4-3, but they were 4-2. Now they're going up against the Atlanta Falcons, who have been doing quite well. I mean, they lost to the Seattle Seahawks last week, but prior to that, they're on a three-game win streak. And look, Kirk Cousins, I still think that he is going to, even though he had the 2 picks, didn't do well last week, I still think he's going to have a good game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think when you take a look at the body of work over the past 4 weeks, I think Kirk Cousins has still been productive. I think they're going to air it out. Bijan Robinson still got 100 yards last week against the Seattle Seahawks here. But and honestly, the injuries for the Buccaneers, they were okay, let me get my crap back. The injuries for the Buccaneers, they already had injuries on the defensive side of the football, and now they have them on the offensive side of the football. So I think it's just Jamel Dean's been out. I think it's just going to continue to get worse for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If Baker Mayfield pulls this off, like he deserves to be like listed as one of the top QBs in the NFL. And maybe they have a shot because they're preparing with these receivers not available. There's a little bit of a mystery as to who the Buccaneers have in the lineup. You got Palmer, who's probably going to get a lot of targets. Shepard, the former Giant, probably going to get a lot of targets in this game. But I still the Bucs are the underdog by 2.5 points. I still have the Falcons winning this game. I don't know if it's going to be completely dominant, but I think they'll get a solid 7-point victory against the Buccaneers, even though the Bucs are at home. I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not scared about the fact that they lost last week. You know what I mean? So we're taking Atlanta still. Healthier team. I like that. Appreciate you, Hector. Keep up the good quality Raiders new videos. You're always on with anything new going around the shield. On time. Appreciate you, Hector. Always on time. Wasn't that the Ashanti song? Always on time. Appreciate you, Hector. Man, everybody give a shout out to Hector. I love this guy. This guy's saying all the great things. And hey, Raiders news. We don't really have any news right now, unfortunately. Just the Desmond Ridder. But honestly, not many teams have any news besides people making trades lately. Really, it's just the DeAndre Hopkins and then where Cooper Kupp's going to go. You would think maybe the Buccaneers could be a destination for Cooper Kupp, but maybe they see the division slipping away. I think if the Buccaneers do beat the Falcons, then you go ahead and think about Cooper Kupp. But anyways, Kirk Cousins, I think, is going to get a lot of yards in this game. I think he's going to absolutely eat. I take the higher on him on 240 passing yards. I know that's risky, but I just have a gut feeling. I think he hasn't slowed down statistically, even in his games where he has an L. So I'm confident in that. I'm not confident in anything with the Buccaneers because they have so many injuries at wide receiver. Also running back. They've been, having more of a committee. So I would not take anything with the Buccaneers in this game. I really would not. So coming up, we now have, and I got to start moving through this. I have been just yipping and yapping way too much. So we're going to go ahead and go through this a little bit quicker. So we got Saints versus Chargers. No Derek Carr, still rolling with Spencer Rattler. And I honestly think that's a dumb decision by Dennis Allen. You saw last week against the Denver Broncos, Spencer Rattler had a horrible game. You can blame the offensive line, but that's the same offensive line Derek Carr had to deal with since after the Eagles game in week 3. And it just seems considerably worse with Spencer Rattler. I mean, the guy is playing like a 5th-round pick rookie. And then you saw Jake Haener come in towards the end of the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, against the Denver Broncos. And when Jake Haener came in, he was making audibles, doing things that Spencer Rattler was not doing the whole game, and they instantly scored a touchdown. So I don't know why they keep starting Rattler. Maybe they're tanking since they think maybe Carr is going to be out longer than usual. Maybe there's some organizational pressure because the fans like Spencer Rattler, but I think these dumbass Saints fans are going to just keep taking L's at Spencer Rattler until they realize it's not going to work. So they're going to get what they deserve, man. They're going to get their ass whipped by the Chargers. The Chargers just beat the Arizona Cardinals last week, or they narrowly lost to the Arizona Cardinals. Sorry, by 2 points. There was that suspect. I don't think it was too suspect, but that illegal contact penalty that really was the dagger that kind of ruined it for the Chargers. And then so you see the Denver Broncos absolutely blow out the Saints. Chargers beat the Denver Broncos a couple weeks ago. 7 points away from beating the Chiefs. They've already had their bye week. They're really well rested. They're going to continue to run the football, do what they've done. Probably still going to be a low-scoring game. I don't think we've even had a game this year where Justin Herbert has had multiple passing touchdowns, but he's a lot better than Spencer Rattler. I mean, obviously, right? So Spencer Rattler, that's just complete disaster. So 7.5-point favorites are the Chargers. So the world does believe this is going to be a high differential here. I do still think it's going to be a low-scoring Chargers game. I'm going to give them a little bit of love here and say they get 23 points. But I think Spencer Rattler, maybe, you know what? I say 1 touchdown, 2 field goals for Spencer Rattler and the Saints. Maybe 10. But Saints 13, Chargers 23. Definitely Saints are taking the L there. When it comes to choosing anything for underdog, check out promo code WiFi, by the way. When it comes to choosing anything for underdog, let me go ahead and put this thing up here. I don't know why I forgot to put this up here. They told me not to use that. When it comes to choosing anything for this one, man, I think you have to just go ahead and just stay with J.K. Dobbins, the running back, going higher than 76 yards. I wouldn't even touch anything with the Saints. Maybe Kamara has injuries and he's playing through it because he has a new contract. To me, that doesn't mean you're going to be productive on the football field. So I really just wouldn't touch anything with the Saints. I can't in good conscience suggest anything when it comes to picking anything with the Saints, honestly. And you know what? Dennis Allen, I don't know who's making you continue to start Rattler when Jake Hayner's clearly better, but that might be like the death sentence. That might be what gets you fired. If he's the one deciding, hopefully it's the GM Mickey Loomis, but that might be what gets that dude toast. I mean, the dude was already unpopular, and now he's making decisions to be popular, and they're the wrong decisions. That's never good, man. That's never good. Saints fans don't deserve Derek Carr, by the way, man. I hope he goes somewhere better because I cannot stand Saints fans. I think they're like, there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good Saints fans, but I think they have some of the shittiest people in their fan base, straight up. Out of all the teams, I think Saints fans have a vocal group that is the shittiest vocal group in the entire NFL. I'll say that. Bills versus Seahawks. Seahawks coming off of a victory against the Atlanta Falcons, a big victory. Geno Smith has been under pressure a lot this year, and I feel like that's been the main reason why he's struggled when he has struggled. I mean, you've even seen him take a safety at a certain point. It's been up and down, and the Seahawks have been decimated with injuries. Tariq Woolen's questionable for this game. We saw DK Metcalf get hurt last game. Buffalo Bills have been a hot team. They keep getting hotter. Now they got Amari Cooper, who was able to be productive in his first game, and I think this guy's just going to continue to be more productive for this Buffalo Bills team. Seahawks are the underdog by 3 points. And I get that. I think it's going to be a close game because it's in Seattle. Dude, if I didn't have anything to do, I would definitely go to this game in Seattle, 1 o'clock, light rain. Oof. Lumen Field, beautiful stadium. Man, I would love to check this game out. I think it's going to be more competitive than we realize, right? But I still have faith that the Buffalo Bills are going to win this game. Bills have had injuries on the defensive side of the football, mainly their front seven, but I still think that the Seahawks offensive line is so weak that they're going to be able to get after it. And I think the Seahawks started a rookie offensive lineman last week who was a little bit more productive than expected, but I don't think that's going to really matter in this game. I think the Buffalo Bills are still going to win it. I think they're going to win it good. I got them winning this game against the Seahawks 24-20. Going to be close. I still think the Bills cover here and get that dub. And I think Amari Cooper, and he's actually one of my 5-player picks that I dropped $100 on for Underdog, promo code Wi-Fi. Check it out. I got Amari Cooper, man. I think he's going to keep getting receptions. He had 4 last week. Why would he not have more this week? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 4 last week in his debut. I think they're going to keep getting it to Amari Pooper Cooper. Geno Smith for the Seahawks. I mean, with DK Metcalf not 100%, I can't say that Geno is going to be productive. I would take the lower on his passing and rushing combined there for this game. I mean, I think you just got to do it. I think you just got to keep it real. You got to keep it real, right? Now, we have been moving a lot faster because it is getting down to crunch time, but we have 4 more games to go. I have been live doing this for 51 minutes. I got to make these shorter. I might even make this pre-recorded next time. I just didn't have that much time this week. Bryce Young is coming back. Panthers versus Broncos because Andy Dalton ended up in a car accident. What the hell is going on with that? Andy Dalton in a car accident. He's okay. His family's okay. But that Bryce Young, after getting all this shade, being blamed for anything, he's thrown back in it. And he's going up against the Denver Broncos, who are able to annihilate Spencer Rattler. They are going to annihilate Bryce Young in this game. Bo Nix, we'll see what he ends up doing. He was able to get some decent numbers last game, but didn't get those 2 touchdowns, and I picked him to get 2 touchdowns last game. Mother effing Bo Nix. But maybe Bo Nix will make some plays this week, man. The Broncos are definitely going to win this game. I wonder how high scoring it's going to be, though. I mean, they typically win slugfest games. Maybe they'll take their foot off the gas, but I could see this being a... is this just going to be disgustingly ugly? Or will the Panthers get some sort of a mojo back? Who knows, man? Let's just say it's going to be close-ish for a Panthers game, 13-20. Andy Dalton had been falling off, though. I mean, 40-7 against the Commanders, 38-20 against the Falcons. So it's not like Andy Dalton has been like totally saving it. But I think the Broncos are going to take it easy on this game, take their foot off the gas early, run out the clock. And that's why if I was doing some player picks for this game when it comes to the Panthers versus the Broncos, I think you would have to go with the running back, Javonte Williams, higher than 62 yards. You got to do it. And when it comes to the Panthers, I really wouldn't touch anything. Deontay Johnson, I would maybe touch him with receptions, but they don't even have it available because I think the it's too dumb of a pick to play there. 3 more games, baby. 3 more games, baby. Are we having fun? Bears versus Commanders. And this is a weird game because we don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to be healthy. He left the game with a rib injury. Marcus Mariota was able to finish the game. This would have been a really fun game. It would have been top 2 QBs in the 2024 draft going up against each other. But now we're not going to be able to get that. So that's quite unfortunate. The Bears have had a great defense all year, coming off of a big win after they had their bye week. So they're well rested, had their bye week. And when they were playing, they had 3 wins in a row against, albeit some very weak teams, and against good teams. They tend to lose. Texans and Colts, the Bears lose. This would be a really interesting game if Jaden Daniels was in it. But I don't think that Marcus Mariota is going to be bad. I think Marcus Mariota in Cliff Kingsbury's offense, I think he did well last week, and I think he got some good live game reps, and I think he's going to do well this week against the Bears. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game because of the Bears' defense being so great, and you can see they're 5th on the PFF power ranks when it comes to defense. Commanders are, obviously not favorites when it comes to the spread, 2.5 plus with the spread. So, but you know what? Even with Marcus Mariota, I think the Commanders are going to shock some people, and I think they're going to win this game. I'm biased because I've always liked Marcus Mariota. So I will admit that I am biased there. I've always liked Marcus Mariota, but I could see them doing some shit. And I would not be surprised if we had ourselves a big-time Commanders victory in DC, baby, a.k.a. the football team, a.k.a. the Redskins. Let's go. Let's go Maroon, baby. Marcus Mariota, Oregon Duck. Let's go. I'm going all in on this guy. I think Caleb Williams and the Bears have got some rest, but I just really do not believe in the Bears offense. I think DJ Moore will get some decent numbers. That's why if I was doing a pick in this game, I still would go with the do they not have DJ Moore? He's not hurt. Oh, yeah, here he is. I would go with the DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is going to get some action. I'd go with the higher with the 58. But don't sleep. Don't sleep on the Commanders in this game. Let's take some Terry McLaurin. I mean, that's safe. 57 yards, scary Terry McLaurin. I think Marcus Mariota, I think he's really going to shock some people in this game. I don't think it's going to turn into a new contract, but it's going to make a lot of people think like, wow, that dude stays humble in the background and just works. Like, he's just a great guy who just works, still very athletic. And just wait. Come back to this channel. Marcus Mariota is going to get the freaking dub. And if Jaden Daniels starts, obviously, I think they're going to get the dub against the Bears. I think they're the more impressive team than the Bears. Bears haven't beaten anybody good. They just straight up haven't. We just took a look at it. All right, so 2 more games left, baby, and this is going to be one of the more hilarious games in the NFL. The mother effing Cowboys going up against the 49ers. The Cowboys literally have their kicker, Aubrey, in and out of jury duty right now. They are just such a disaster all the time. It's absolutely hilarious, but hey, we them boys, right? So the Cowboys had a bye week last week after they got their ass whooped by the Detroit Lions. Absolutely embarrassed. And now they're playing on the road in Santa Clara against the 49ers. I mean, this is not a good time to try to have a bounce back game. Now, at the same time, the 49ers have been going downhill. I mean, they lost to the Chiefs, though. I mean, how are you going to really blame them for losing to the Chiefs? But they just seem frustrated in that game. Brandon Ayuk is now on IR. They lost him for the season. Bosa's questionable. Kittle questionable. Samuel questionable. Jordan Mason, who's already filling in for McCaffrey, questionable. The Niners are absolutely decimated with injuries. So on one level, yes, it's pretty much assumed with the spread favoring the Niners by 4 points that you would think that the Cowboys just get absolutely clapped. But I think this is going to be a closer game. And I just feel like Dallas can't keep losing like this. They got too much money invested in some of their top players. Dak Prescott's making too much money to just barely scrape by and get their ass whooped by good teams. Niners are not a good team right now, man. They're going downhill, and you can see the line changing. It was favoring a couple of days ago, it was favoring the Niners by 4.5. Now it's only 4. Yeah, dude. I think the Cowboys could do some things here. I'm gonna end up looking like a fool here. Micah Parsons, is he still out? I believe Micah Parsons is still out. If Micah Parsons comes, he's questionable. Okay, he's questionable. I'm gonna take the Cowboys. I'm gonna take the Cowboys winning a close game, 46.5 points. Maybe I'm gonna look like an idiot here, man, but I could see them winning a close ass game, game-winning field goal at the end, ugly, hit or miss game. Cowboys win it 26-23. They beat the banged up 49ers, who don't have a consistent soul on the football field right now. Everybody's questionable. Everybody's banged up. Who do you even pick when it comes to that, right? Well, obviously the Dallas Cowboys are going to get the football to CeeDee Lamb, but lately I think you got to go with Tolbert, the next guy out when it comes to CeeDee Lamb, because CeeDee Lamb's going to be double, triple, quadruple covered here. So I would take the higher on Tolbert at 35.5 yards altogether. Jordan Mason, questionable, but probably still plays. Purdy, is he going to just dominate? Purdy's been throwing picks. Purdy has been throwing picks lately. I honestly don't feel comfortable choosing anybody for the 49ers in this game, especially with everybody questionable. Maybe you take if Jordan Mason's for sure playing, which is questionable, then you take a Jordan Mason touchdown. But other than that, I'm not comfortable with anything with the San Francisco 49ers, if I'm going to be real. Okay, 2 more games, baby. They thought that one more game, baby. They thought we would not make it. They wrote me off. They wrote me off, but I did not write back, though. They wrote me off and said that I would not finish this predictions video in a timely manner. They wrote me off, but I did not write back, though. Giants versus Steelers. The Steelers with Russell Wilson. Guys, give Russell Wilson a round of applause. Russell Wilson had so many mother effing haters, dude. I even roasted the guy. Justin Fields was starting. We thought the calf injury was fake. We felt sad for the dude. But you know what, man? Shout out to Russell Wilson bouncing back. And you know what? They faced some adversity last week against the New York Jets. There was that window in the second quarter when the Jets are moving down the football field, and it just felt like the Jets are going to win it. After the Jets got that 2-point conversion to Garrett Wilson, it just felt like, you know what? Jets are going to win this game. Sucks for Russell Wilson. He even had people calling for Russell Wilson's head, saying, hey, yeah, the crowd chanting, let's go Justin Fields. It was a disaster. And now they got a perfect victim, the New York Giants, who continue to go downhill after they got their ass whooped by the Philadelphia Eagles, lost to the Bengals, beat the Seattle Seahawks, though, but they beat the Seattle Seahawks off of a blocked field goal return for a touchdown. That's kind of a foolish little lucky victory for the Giants. So the Giants really haven't beaten anybody good, like a truly earned victory. I feel like they showed flashes against the Cowboys, and we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But you know what? This is an easy one to pick. I think the Steelers are going to continue to get hot. What I like the most is how Russell Wilson was finally able to get George Pickens involved. And I think the Steelers are going to be one of the hottest teams in the AFC. And Mike Tomlin is going to prove why coaching matters. Russell Wilson's going to prove why, he still has a lot of juice left in the tank, why Denver was a fluke. He's going to prove that he still has that deep ball. He's going to prove that leadership really matters, man. Like, Russell Wilson is a leader. And what is the first thing he did when he got that victory against the Jets? Is he thanked Justin Fields for his time. That's how you handle that situation. That's how you handle an awkward situation where this guy's starting. Russell Wilson, the perfect guy, the perfect character to handle a kind of weird, all right, this could be a locker room issue. Some people like this guy at QB. Some people think this guy should maybe be starting and all that. Russell Wilson did a great job, I feel like, handling the media. And I think that stuff really matters. I mean, I think that's the emotional momentum morale factor that a lot of people don't take into account. And obviously the Steelers defense with TJ Watt, they are just moving, bro. I'm taking George Pickens the higher on those receiving yards. He is freaking eating lately, and I think he's going to continue to eat. And even though, Malik Neighbors was getting targeted like crazy, had Brian Dable asking him what plays he should do. Wasn't able to do much against the Philadelphia Eagles last week, but against the Cowboys, really was able to get some serious yardage. And I think now that he's becoming healthier, out of that concussion protocol, you're going to see more production for Malik Neighbors. So Neighbors, Pickens, I would go with that here in this game. And when it comes to the score prediction, which I did not give yet for this one, I don't think the Giants have a chance, man. The over and under is 36 points, so 36.5. So they really don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go ahead, though. I'm going to give the Steelers 23. I'm going to give the Giants 13. I'm going to say 36 right on the dot, under that 36.5 for sure. So Steelers win this game, take their foot off the gas, probably in the late third quarter, start running the football with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren and get the hell out of there. By the way, this has been sponsored by Underdog, and I dropped $100. I am the most nervous about the Kirk Cousins 241. I'm not really nervous about the Johnny Smith. I think I'm pretty confident in the other three, Mahomes, Rodgers, Amari Cooper. So this is my pick. Promo code Wi-Fi, link in the description and pinned to the pinned comment to sign up for Underdog, claim a free pick, plus get up to $1,000 in bonus offers. You get a free little perk when you use code Wi-Fi right here on Underdog. So check that out. It's available in California, also in Oregon. Shout out to all those people and like a bunch of other places too. Texas, it's available. In New Mexico, tons of states. So check it out, man. Check it out. Thank you guys for hanging out with me during these predictions, man. Appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe. My name is Wi-Fi Willie. Maybe we'll do this pre-recorded next time. Peace out. Hope you have a good one.